I'm just kidding. Welcome to Fueled by Coffee podcast, where we like to drink coffee and talk about life and laugh at pain, as you found in one of the last few episodes when we talked about my depressing 21st birthday. My name is Matt, and I welcome you to this podcast. Hope you enjoy what you hear. If you're a regular, welcome back. Hope you've been enjoying the episodes this season. If you're new, give us a follow here on SoundCloud. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We're not very active on Twitter, but check us out on Instagram at Fueled by Coffee Pod. That's where you can keep up with all of our antics and our merch and, just everything that we are pursuing and posting. Check us out there on Instagram at Fueled by Coffee Pod. We have merch. We are on Teespring. We have shirts and a mug and all sorts of fun stuff. So check us out for all of that. Today, we are here with a guest that was on for the Christmas episodes. We are here with Ghostie Art, a.k.a. Kayla, a.k.a. my girlfriend that I was advised not to have on, but we're bringing her back on again because our Christmas episode did the best out of all three of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a good one. I re-listened to those recently, and they are all very good. I'm very proud of those. We talked about a lot of different stuff. You myself, Sean, Aaron. We had some good talks. Happy to have you back on. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. We got a lot on deck. But as always, if you haven't heard any of the most recent episodes, you can check them out on the Spotlight section on SoundCloud, or if you're listening through an external app, you can just go scroll through our episodes. Check out season 3. We've talked about so many different things. As I said, my depressing 21st birthday. We have talked about, I talked to my friend Tommy, who is a professional wrestler, and what that's been like, and just geeked out about wrestling. Talked with Aaron about PMA, and with Aaron's brother Pete about music. We got something for everyone. All the music episodes are phenomenal. Everything I've done, I'm really happy with, and I think you will be too. There's comedy, there's sadness, there is happiness. You get all the full color spectrum of emotion, so I highly recommend you all check it out. Today, we're going to be here talking quite a few things. And if you are a regular listener to the podcast, you will know that we try and have a different coffee every time. It doesn't always happen, but we drink coffee. It's a podcast centered around coffee. Today we got a new one from Weiss.
We did.
Shout out to Weiss. We love you. I still remember the episode where John gave like a whole sales pitch for Weiss. But today we ran to the store, picked some things up, and I picked out a coffee. I almost picked out a different one, the maple bourbon Vermont blend, but I decided against it. This is from the 8 o'clock coffee company. And this is like one of their like more fancy roasts. But we're going to try it live here on the pod. We have never had this before. It's called the Red Eye Blend, or...
Yeah, it has like espresso in it.
Yeah, there's like espresso in it.
It's a dark roast.
It's a really dark roast. And if you listened to the Christmas episode, you will know that Kayla is a coffee snob.
I love dark roast.
She loves dark coffee. She loves strong coffee. She loves putting the whole bin of sugar in her coffee.
Yes. I've actually cut down on the sugar.
Half a bottle of creamer in her coffee.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but she's a coffee lover. That's one of the first things we bonded over. I think I mentioned that on our last episode. So coffee is something that we're always like, hey, like, check this out, try this. When the cinnamon bun coffee came out at Wawa, we were like, gotta try that, and it was really good.
Oh, yeah.
But today, 8 o'clock coffee, Red Eye Blend. Kayla made hers into an iced.
Yes, I made mine into an iced coffee.
She is an iced fan. I will drink coffee many different ways, but I am pretty much universally a hot coffee guy. I just feel like it's the classic. It's hot. It warms you up, warms your soul, gets to your bones, gets real deep.
Yeah.
Gets real deep. But anyways, we're going to give this a try right now, this very strong coffee. I'm hoping this wakes me up because I have been struggling with insomnia lately. So 8 o'clock coffee, if you can wake me up, please sponsor me.
Let's go.
Okay, this reminds me. So I put a little bit of hazelnut creamer in, but the coffee, I have this really awful hazelnut creamer currently. that you have to put like a ton in to taste it, and then your coffee basically is stark white. But I just put a little bit in, and this coffee is punching through real good. Like I'm getting a really...
It's strong.
It's a good coffee flavor.
It's strong.
What it reminds me of is when so for those who didn't listen to the first episode of this season, I highly recommend it. I talked about my experiences in music and my main project, Union Coffee Break. The last release I did for that, I went up to it. I rented out a tiny house on top of a mountain in Vermont, and I had like no cell service, and I just basically drank coffee and recorded music for like 4 or 5 days straight. This is giving me those vibes.
Yeah.
Just like, it was making me think about when I would sit there and drink coffee on top of this mountain in the middle of the fall. I don't want to say like nostalgic, but I'm just, it's like taking me back to that time, because I was drinking, you know what it was? You know what it is? This is a strong coffee. When I was there, I was drinking black coffee. I had no creamer, so I was just drinking straight black. I think it was chock full of nuts. But this is good. I like it. What do you think? How do you feel?
I like it. I put French vanilla creamer in mine and a teaspoon of sugar. That's all I put.
Staring a hole in my head.
When we brewed it in the Keurig, I pressed the strong option, and it's definitely strong. Like, with adding the ice, you have to make sure it's strong so it doesn't get watered down, and it doesn't taste watered down at all. So
that's good.
I like it.
Yeah, definitely really good 8 o'clock coffee. If you're listening, I highly doubt you are. Thank you for this great coffee.
Yeah.
If you're looking to sponsor a coffee podcast, I'm welcoming sponsorships. Reach out to me.
Yeah. Love the packaging.
The packaging
I am
is
a
very
packaging
nice.
snob.
Well, that's why we got all that Bones coffee.
Yeah.
Because the Bones coffee has, I think, some of my favorite packaging on any product I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like coffee
cool.
or food or otherwise.
Love it.
This is like they're more bougie. Like there was like the regular 8 o'clock coffee, which just came in like these red bags. It kind of looked like Folgers or like one of those.
I think it said like barista on it, so it might be like, you know, their barista.
The barista line, the barista series.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I highly recommend it if you're into strong coffee. It's got espresso in it. Really good. But moving forward, so we touched on it the last time Kayla was on. Didn't really get into it because it was Christmas time. We had Christmas things to talk about. You know, we wanted it to be a holiday episode. But today we're going to talk about more, you know, personal life, fun stuff. Not that the holidays aren't fun, but you'll see where I'm going with this as we go along. Those who aren't familiar or who maybe have forgotten, Kayla is an artist. She has been an artist pretty much her whole entire life, and she is, you know, like myself, you know, being a musician or writing poetry, or, you know, those who are on the grind. She's on the grind, and she's trying to start her own art business. It's a passion of hers, and she, you know, if she can make it a job, she would love that. So I'm just gonna like cut loose. I'm gonna let her, you know, kind of geek out. That's been my thing this season. Geek out.
Geek out.
Yeah.
Geek out.
On the last episode with Tommy, I said something about geeking out, and he was like, geek out.
Geek out.
But I'm just gonna let her go into, you know, her art stuff. So you've basically been an artist your whole life, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much since I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. And like every little kid draws. You know what I mean? But like,
you should see how bad some of my drawings were.
Yeah, exactly. Ever since probably kindergarten, people have always told me, you're really good at art. I would even win, like, I would win in like kindergarten all of the coloring contests, all of the art contests.
Coloring
like, it was
contests.
me and this one other girl. Yeah. We were always like neck for neck, you know?
Was it just like stay inside the lines, or like?
I mean, it was pretty much like,
or is it like
they would give us a picture. We would all get the same picture.
Is this like the things that they do at like friendlies, where it's like every kid can get it, and then if you win like a year's supply of friendlies or something like that?
Yeah, like kind of. They would do it like, I think once a week in kindergarten, and we all get the same picture, and I guess just best colored would win. And it was me or this other girl who would always win every single week, and we get a cool prize.
Did you go for the realistic coloring, or did you go for an abstract, like this teddy bear is going to be green?
I don't really, probably more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Interesting.
So that was fun.
So
in
that's
kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know?
So like basically as far back as you can remember, and that stuck with you up until now. Obviously, you have an art page on Instagram, which we're gonna plug.
Yes.
Ghostie Art.
Ghostie.art.
With 2 T's at the end. Go check her out. If you're into, like, what would you... I know we always talk about, like, style and genre and how it's important, not to box yourself in, because then you're basically limiting your potential and what you can do. But if you had to describe to someone, like, what your art is... like what type of art or what style of art you do, how would you explain it to someone if they said, oh, you do art? Like, what kind of art is it?
It's definitely more, it's definitely colorful. I do a lot of colorful art, which that's a recent thing. Like,
well, we saw your emo notebook post on...
Yes.
Was that like a story post, or was that like a post on Instagram?
I think that was a story post.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I used to just draw in black and white, and now I do definitely more colorful, some abstract stuff. It's definitely not realistic art. Mm-hmm. Like, I can and have the, what's the word I'm looking for? Technical ability to do realistic art, but it's just not fun for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not as fun. So it's definitely more abstract and more weird. I definitely just call it weird art. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I call it. Yeah. Because it doesn't appeal to everyone.
For sure.
But
there is a crowd for it.
There is a crowd for it. I like weird art, and I buy other people's weird art. So...
I mean, you bought me. We have a Waluigi and a Wario. What was that guy's name? Space Case Illustration.
Space Case Illustrations. Yeah.
If you're into art, go check him out. He does like weird mock-ups of like Nintendo characters, or maybe even just like cartoon characters in general.
Yeah, I think he's done a couple different things.
The Simpsons, SpongeBob.
I've seen like maybe an Animal Crossing one. Like these were like woodcuts we bought, or I bought from him for gifts for Matt, and he loves them. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like kind of
like a monster, like
kind of look. So it's really cool. So like definitely check him out. But weird art is really cool.
Yeah.
And you were recently commissioned to do a couple paintings. So you're open to commissions if people want to ask.
If people want to ask, yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's kind of scary putting yourself out there like that. I mean, I can obviously say no and decline the commission if I really didn't feel comfortable doing it or didn't think I had the time at the moment to do it. But yeah, I'm definitely open for if people want to just, hit me up for things they want, because I just had 3 paintings I did for someone, and it was something that I wasn't really like into, like boba tea paintings. I've drank boba tea once and I was like, this is gross.
Yeah.
But I ended up actually really enjoying the painting process with them, so it was really fun.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That almost makes me think of like branching out into like different styles of music. Like for the longest time, all I wrote was like pop punk, or just like, I'm gonna scream into this microphone about how sad I am. And then like I got really into like Mac DeMarco, and then I started writing like wacky wiggly guitar stuff, like so it's definitely good to step outside your comfort zone when it comes to stuff like that, because it helps you grow as an artist for sure. As a creator.
Kind of like I just used to do black and white drawings, and my art teacher I did AP studio art in high school, and up until like I think my second, I had 2 years left, and we got a new art teacher, which was kind of scary. You're like, what? He was way better than the old art teacher. His name was Mr. Jones, and he told me something that really stuck with me. He said, Kayla, your strong suit is color, like color art. You're really good at colors and putting them together, and And I was like, oh, I am? Like, because I've always just done black and white. So that is definitely something that, like, I stepped out of my comfort zone with, and now I really love it.
Yeah.
So
I think I gave you, actually, it's the next episode. I record these a little bit out of order, or at least I have been recently. In the one episode, I gave you a plug about how you'll go on like a tangent about how you love mixing colors.
Yes.
And how you're like, like, I'm really good at mixing colors.
I am.
Like for Halloween last year, we painted pumpkins, and I remember you were like, if you need any colors mixed, just let me know, I'll mix it up for you. And I was like, Okay.
Yeah, it's fun to like test yourself and find an object and mix the exact color. Like it's actually not as easy as you think it would be.
Oh, I would never think it. I'm terrible at art.
Like if you look at something that's black, there's undertones of colors in the color black. So like as an artist, that's something you figure out how to do.
My friend Jack used to say stuff like that. 'Cause
undertones. Yes.
He went to LVPA for art.
Yes.
And Jack, I doubt you're listening, but if you are, send me a text. No, seriously, I remember the one time, so the bridge spot that we like to go sit at. For those who don't know, there's this bridge on the rail trail in Hellertown that overlooks like a little waterfall. There's usually some ducks, maybe an old man fishing on the other side. An old man fishing on the other side of the creek,
Jeremiah.
Yeah, that's something we could tell a story of.
Yeah.
But like there's this bridge and like the trail goes across the bridge, but we like to go sit, like kind of hang our legs over the edge and just talk or just hang out. It's really relaxing, a little spot. And the one night years ago, we were probably like 17, 18 years old. I was sitting there with Jack and the sun was going down and he was like, "Oh dude, this is the best hour." And he was saying like, I was like, "Oh yeah, because of like the sunset." Because he said something about like all the colors, and he was like, "No, like the undertones on the leaves and stuff, like as the sun hit." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "See, there's like purple on," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" But like, he used to talk about the same stuff.
Yeah, every color has undertones to it. It's just something you learn as an artist. So you know what I mean?
So your primary suit is like drawing and painting, and like markers and stuff like that. Well, is there anything that you would want to, I guess, like pursue further? Maybe like other avenues within art, like with me, like say it would be like, oh, I want to teach myself a new instrument. Is there other forms of art you want to try and get into?
I've been wanting to do like oil pastels, which seems, because I see other artists online doing like
we know
chunky oil pastels, and then they scratch like little designs within the art. It just looks like I love the texture of it. I kind of want to try those. And also I've also for the longest time I have just wanted to get into better drawing, like figure drawings of like people.
Yeah.
Like mainly like bodies. Like that is something I am not
bodies
good at.
Bodies are hard. And
exactly.
I'm not good at drawing it.
Yeah, it's all about proportions. It's just, I mean, I would love practice, but it is just, honestly, that's just a whole book I gotta open,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
very hard stuff.
That type of stuff is really hard. Well, I've tried my whole life. My Grammy is an artist who is really, really good. She, she's painted and stole a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. And
I always enjoyed art in school for sure. And I had little sketchbooks as a kid growing up, but like I was never like a good drawer or anything. And most recently I was with you. I bought one because I was like, I want to try drawing like here and there, just like for fun, just for shits and giggles, And there was like one I tried drawing the main character from Shenmue, which you saw, and you were like, for someone who doesn't draw, like that's not bad.
Yeah,
but then
it was.
But then I showed it to like my younger sister, and all she did was laugh at it.
It would honestly, because like for not being a person who draws, that was a good drawing. I promise.
But then I think my specialty, which you've seen, I haven't shown you. So I used to do a lot of drawing in study hall with my friend Ben, that I no longer am friends with, but. In high school we were just like stupid and goofy, and I mean I've always been a goofy person, but we'd sit in study hall together and just like draw the most messed up stuff, and I have them in a drawer somewhere that I have to show you one day. You're probably gonna like leave me after this. I think my specialty is drawing wieners.
Oh god.
As it is with most guys, and most
we should have a wiener draw off.
Who would be good to have a wiener draw off with? Sean.
Yeah.
He has a really detailed drawing of a wiener that he drew. Yeah, it was... So Sean used to draw a lot.
I don't like that word.
Wiener?
Yeah.
A wiener draw? Would you rather use pee-pee?
No.
Leaky pee-pee? No, when Sean used to smoke weed back before he joined the army, he would draw a lot, and he was really good because he had like the patience and the focus, and I think that's probably where... I'm not good at drawing. Not that I don't have patience, and not that I don't focus, because like I can sit down and read a book for like an hour and like I'm fine. But it's like I've noticed with people like you
Mm-hmm.
or like Sean or like Jack, whenever I would draw with you guys were so just like tedious and patient with your lines, and then I'm there like
yeah. I
like
see
I'm just
you
like
draw, and I'm like, that's very chaotic in my eyes.
yeah, because for me, I'm just like, you know, I maybe, you know, in relation to music, it's because like I'm just so used to like doing stuff fast, but I've just never had that patience that you guys have. So that's probably but either way, Sean used to draw these like really like cool, some of the stuff was like a little trippy, you know.
Yeah.
But he just like, he would literally sit there with his sketchbook and like, you know, the most tedious little lines and stuff.
Yeah.
He has this very detailed drawing that he did, and I think it was from when he was in high school. I've seen it a couple times, and it says there's like a guy, I think like a really ugly drawn guy. I think they're like sitting at a table or something, and like the one's really poorly drawn, like it looks like I drew it. And then there's another guy on the other side of the table, and it the one guy's saying like, don't be such a dickhead, or why are you such a dickhead? And then it's literally like a person like with a human body, but then instead of a head coming out of like the collar of the shirt, it's a dick.
Oh my gosh.
So like we could have a wiener draw off
Yeah.
between you and Sean and I.
We should.
Mine are very cartoony, very smooth,
It's okay.
but those are the smoothest lines you'll ever see on those balls. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much. All right, this is
Okay.
uncomfortable. Let's move forward. So wieners are definitely my specialty. They have been for years, but just getting back to
Wieners are my specialty.
that sounded so wrong. But getting back to it, so if you are into weird art, you're into like lots of colors, and you've done some weird faces, and
Oh yeah, I do weird faces like.
yeah, some of my favorites that you've done though, you did this little series of like nature pictures.
Oh yes.
It's almost like a little like diamond or like a square, and then
triangle.
yeah, and like the background will be like, you know, like a normal kind of like a base color, but then inside like the square or whatever triangle, you do like a little landscape. Those are really cool.
Yeah, those are digital drawings, which I eventually hopefully want to make prints out of and sell those, because those are very appealing to a lot of people, and I think they're one of my favorite things I've like done digitally. So
and not, I don't want this to sound like I'm like discrediting your work, but it's like one of those things where like it's those paintings or those drawings that you almost could see like in like a doctor's office or something, or like a set of them, you know, like where they're all kind of lined up with each other, or like in a kitchen or something like that. Yeah, but they're all really cool.
Yeah, and the colors on them are really cool too, which is my favorite part about them.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're interested in checking out any of Kayla's art, go check out ghostie.art, 2 T's at the end, on Instagram. Hit her up if you want some art. Let her know, you know, give her some support. She's trying to, you know, grind like we all are.
Yeah.
And
I've done art for you.
Yeah. I have a whole little setup by the desk in the studio.
Yeah. I've done physical art. I've done logos.
The Fueled by Coffee. Thank you for mentioning
Yeah.
that. The Fueled by Coffee logos and a lot of the stickers are designed by Kayla. So yeah, huge shout out to you. I would have the shittiest looking stuff if you didn't.
I know.
So,
because you drew a coffee cup and you're like, well, this is my sticker, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, yeah. And then like an hour later, you had like a really nice looking mock-up for me. But no, seriously, really appreciative to Kayla for all she's done for the podcast, and you know, just for her support and whatnot. We've had good times with art. But we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
So being that, you know, we're in a relationship, there's several things that we've bonded over. We've talked about coffee. We've had, you know, like the art talks and, you know, art and music, how important that stuff is. Food, you know, we just ate some really great stuffed peppers.
Yep.
Which is going to sound weird because these drop at 9 a.m. So if you're listening early, we're recording this at night. We just ate some really great stuffed peppers, and I made some dope sugar cookie bars.
So good.
First time I ever tried the recipe.
So good.
I do bake. For those, I don't think I've ever mentioned that, other than like I bake at my job, which people know, but like I also enjoy baking at home.
Yeah.
And not like you're, you know, I'm a snob. So where you're a snob with like maybe cooking or like with coffee, that time with baking, I'm like, we're not doing any more of this box cake shit. No more jarred icing. We're making this all from scratch.
That, but Matt is not.
I feel like you can taste you can taste the difference for sure. I feel like jarred icing has like it tastes very chemically to me, like
it does.
chemically engineered. But then also, like I feel like when you put in the ingredients, you know what's in it. Whereas that box cake mix is like, it's just the flour, the cocoa, the sugar. But then it's like on the back, there's like 1,000 other ingredients.
Enriched white flour with the
multi-triglycerides and color number 6 brown. Yeah, it's like, but when you put in the stuff, like you know what's going into your food. But my point is we've bonded over many different things. But one of the things that I'm so glad we were able to connect on was video games.
Yes.
You and I, since we've started hanging out, have been playing video games. We started out with Mario Party.
Oh yeah.
Which we've had a lot of fun with. But we've played quite a few different games, and I think we've had some that are like one-offs that we play once in a while or here or there. But I think there are a few constant ones that are almost like, I don't want to say like pillars of our relationship or like but they're ones that are definitely like, if it's a slow day, like, hey, let's play this, or they've also become big inside jokes within our relationship.
Yes,
so
for sure.
Let's dive in right now. Right around the time we met, about a month after we met, pandemic happens, shut down, and like we couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything.
Shortly after we met.
What a terrible time to get into a relationship, right? No, honestly, I always tell people that was like one of the best things, because like we had each other to like support each other.
That's so
through,
true.
Because I think that would have been so much harder if it was like on your own, can't see your friends, can't, whatever.
Yeah.
But Animal Crossing came out.
Yes.
And it literally led us on this wild goose chase to get Kayla a Nintendo Switch. And if those of you who are familiar with like the gaming market, when the pandemic hit,
that was bad.
The Switches got bought all up because people were stuck at home, so they wanted something to do.
Yep.
And when scalpers see that something is hot, then they buy it all up and they sell it for, a Switch normal price is like $200 for the Lite, $300 for the full console. The scalpers were selling it for at least $500 everywhere. At least. Yeah. So like we would literally drive around, like if we saw that there was stock at Target, we'd be like, oh, we gotta go. I went and picked you up in Coopersburg. We drove all the way to Easton to go pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then we get there and I was like, you guys have yellow Switches in stock? And he was like,
that was earlier today. And
I was like, then why does it say it's in stock, bud? Like,
well, I forget what he said.
Yeah, it was like some stupid.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing came out, and I remember I've been an Animal Crossing fan for a lot of my life, most of my life. I got it. I don't know if I told this story already. I got it on the GameCube when I was about 8 or 9. I was in 3rd grade. I remember Christmas time rolled around, and I asked for a DS for Christmas. And there was this commercial on for the new Animal Crossing that was coming out on the DS. And I was like, I really want this for Christmas. And, my mom, being Santa, I'm doing air quotes again, she got me, my mom's not a gaming person. She doesn't know, systems and whatnot. She got me Animal Crossing on the GameCube because she knew that I had a GameCube. But honestly, in all honesty, the one on the GameCube is like the best one. There's not as much to do as on like the Switch and the 3DS and like all this extra crazy stuff you can do nowadays. Like now you have Mario warp pipes on the world.
Yeah.
And like all sorts of crazy decorations. The one on the GameCube is like so bare bones, but like the soundtrack is so good.
Soundtrack.
And
yeah.
The villagers are so nasty to use sometimes. Like there was actually ones that would be like just intentionally mean.
Yeah.
But it's like there was just so much to it that was such a great thing. But you and I started playing Animal Crossing when New Horizons came out.
Yeah.
You eventually got a Switch, and we would literally spend hours here, the days we'd hang out, just like playing Animal Crossing, working on our islands, like just visiting each other's islands, you know, just like having a blast. Like so much fun. It's like one of your favorite games now too, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing that I think bothers me most is I can't stand when people are like, oh my god, I mean, like, it's great if a game gets huge because it's a good game, and that's how it's made by Nintendo. Everything made by Nintendo is quality.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I hate when people act like they've loved Animal Crossing their whole life when really they just started playing it like last year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been playing this since I was 8 years old, and I'm 23 now. Like, come on.
Yeah. Like, I admit, like, I've never owned an Animal Crossing game for this one.
Yeah, and like I don't want to take that love away from anyone.
Yeah.
I just hate when people like that'd be like saying I'm the biggest Blink-182 fan in the world. I just listened to Enema of the State yesterday, and it's like, okay, all right, bud, calm down.
No, you ain't, bud.
Yeah. But yeah, Animal Crossing, phenomenal. Nintendo, please sponsor me. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
But please sponsor me.
Blink-182, please sponsor me.
Oh, that'd be so good. If we could get Mark Hoppus on this podcast. And Travis with his slinky, skinny body.
Slinky.
Hey, my name's Travis.
Hey, he's my favorite out of the band.
Really? You don't like Tom?
No, I'm sorry, but Travis has always been my favorite. Okay, always.
Most girls love Travis.
Yeah, that's true.
But moving forward, the last game I have on this list is one that I came across recently that I played.
Yes.
I played religiously, and it is now a huge. It's a love of both of ours. You didn't.
Yeah, I don't play it, but I love watching people play games. That is one thing I've always done. I've watched my brother play games all the time.
Yeah, you watched me play this, but you saw enough of it that it became a huge inside joke because some of it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I gave a pitch for it in the episode with Rob. I talked about how much I loved it. Shenmue. I am not the type of person to beat games. As a kid, I would, because when you're a kid, it's like you only get video games if it's Christmas or your birthday, or like if you have money from one of those things, you go out and buy a game.
Yeah.
And then you play that game basically for the rest of the year until Christmas comes and you get another game.
Yeah.
Whereas like now that you're an adult and you make money, you can basically buy a game as long as you have the money to. It's like, I'm gonna go buy 3 games, it's like you just do it. So I often in my adulthood, I'll start a game and be like, this is awesome, and then I get burned out on it, and then I never finish it. Or like I get really frustrated and I walk away, and then I'm like, I don't want to play that anymore because I have this association of frustration. But Shenmue is very much like an Animal Crossing, where it's just like laid back and you can just like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's a timer on how long you can beat it, but oh my god, like that game, I beat it in like 3 weeks. And I know some people are probably like, I beat it in 1 day, but it's just such a good game, and there's so many things to laugh at in it.
Yeah.
But you also have to, like, for those who didn't listen to the episode with Rob, it's basically it's a game made by Sega. It's set in Japan. Typical martial arts story, like, your father is killed, you need to take revenge, but like the thing is the main character is such a doofus. Like Ryo Hazuki, I mean, I love him. He's one of my favorite video game characters of all time now.
I see.
But he's so awkward.
Yeah.
Like when he asks people questions, he'll be like, I am looking for a man named Charlie. There's a section of the game where you watch me walk around all of town asking everyone the same question.
Yeah, the same question, the same tone. Charlie.
Do you know a man called Charlie? He's a man who wears a black leather jacket and sunglasses. He has a tattoo on his arm too.
And everyone that this man would ask, everyone had like a different answer. Like no one wanted to help.
Yeah.
Charlie!
Well,
I don't know no Charlie.
Yeah. Or like there's the one guy who's at a desk and he like turns his head like 180 like he's an owl, like, I don't know who you're talking about.
I see.
Just like
so weird. Such a weird game.
But the thing is like the soundtrack is so good. It sounds like The Cure made the soundtrack. Like if you're into The Cure and like 80s music, the soundtrack is so good. It's so laid back. There's like an arcade in the game. You can just like go play games at the arcade. There's a weird crackhead who's like the main antagonist. His name's Chai.
Oh,
and he sounds like Schmeagol, and he looks like Schmeagol.
And Matt does the best impression of him.
I do a great impression of him. But yeah, it's just such a good game. But you and I have had so many laughs playing through it, and just like I would send you stuff like if if we weren't together, I'd be like, oh my god, look, I found Santa Claus, because the game runs on like an internal clock. It's like it starts on a December day, and then you have until like April to beat the game or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I was like, oh my god, babe, look at Santa, or like, you know, just some of the ridiculous stuff in it. Like, it's just so much fun. I had a blast playing it.
Yeah, it was fun.
But now we're gonna get to the main event of this episode, the main attraction of this episode. We're gonna jump in. So it was mentioned on the Christmas episode. Again, if you haven't listened to any of those, I highly recommend you check them out. The one with Sean is a little vulgar and goofy, but that's how we are when we're together, and it's really funny. Like I've had quite a few laughs listening to it, like laughing out loud, not just like, huh, that's funny. It was like I was literally like, ha! Like, you know, I'd sit there and giggle at my computer listening to them. But we mentioned it in Kayla's episode. She previously worked. In her teenage years, she worked at Subway. Not only just Subway, a Subway in a Walmart.
Yeah. The worst kind.
I sounded like Ryo Hazuki saying, she worked at a Subway in a Walmart.
I see.
I'm looking for Subway in Walmart. You know? Unfortunately, she told her best stories on that episode, so go check that one out. There was a guy who got pretty much everything he could get, meat and sauce and mayonnaise, and on one sandwich. Disgusting. She talked about the one coworker who...
friend
Yishi, who worked in the Walmart.
Yep.
But he would come over and hang out with the people from Subway, and he gave Kayla a Nintendo DS. Interesting story.
Yeah.
Yishi, if you're out there... Hope
we
you're doing well,
you.
bud. I've never met you, but you sound like a nice guy.
You are nice.
Kayla has had some great experiences, some interesting experiences, some wacky experiences with Subway, and just working in a Walmart. She's worked at a real deli too, so we're gonna dive into some Walmart and Subway stories. Yeah, or just how it was working there. One thing we love to talk on the podcast about is work. We did a whole Men at Work episode. We've talked about warehousing. We've talked about, you know, retail jobs. John talked about his car wash for probably a total of an hour. You know, just like, it's what we do. We love talking about work and the highs and the lows. What was it like working in a Subway that was in a Walmart? First of all, let's start with the Walmart setting.
The Walmart setting. Well, it was definitely nice working, you know, not just in a Subway store like it was in the Walmart, because if you were ever bored, you could people watch, which is very fun to do in a Walmart.
Okay, I was gonna say what's the difference, but I wasn't even thinking about
watching.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It was also nice because we didn't have our own bathroom. It was a Walmart bathroom, so we didn't have to worry about cleaning that.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's
true.
Cleaning like public bathrooms is like not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever done it, but it's not fun.
I'm fortunate enough that I've not. Actually, I had to do it once.
Yeah, it's not
I mean,
fun.
not like once, but like my one job I had to. When I worked at Saucon Valley Music, that was one of my things I'd have to do when I worked is clean the bathroom. And I remember there were some times where people ripped a big dump right before I went in, and it was like a toxic wasteland, you know?
Yeah, it's gross.
But anyway, so people watching at Walmart.
Yeah, people watching at Walmart.
You see any interesting characters you want to mention? Or is that just like a general point?
There's definitely regulars at Walmart.
Oh, for sure.
Like every day.
Especially in
regulars.
Quakertown.
And not just the workers.
Every day?
Every day regulars.
Good Lord.
There's this one guy in specific.
Uh-oh. And we're not bashing people.
No.
We're just painting a picture. I'm always saying we're depicting a scene for people to envision.
But he would come. He was our biggest customer for sure.
At Subway?
Yeah, and he didn't even work at Walmart.
Subway
he
fan for life, like #1 Subway boy.
Definitely. I don't know if he still goes there.
His house is painted yellow and green.
He probably lives by like Walmart and he walks there. I know he probably walks there every day. And he would come in and he would order different things every day. For sure, he would order different things. But he had the most Subway rewards points I've ever seen someone have.
What?
Subway rewards. Subway rewards they have rewards. He used to just come in, sit down. He would bring friends in. You know what I mean? Like he would just wander around Walmart. Like he would stick around all day. Like this was an all day thing.
Like chilling out at Subway?
Like not just Subway, but Walmart too.
Really?
Like just chilling. I mean, could you imagine going to the same food place every single day of your life?
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Like every single day.
Yeah, no. But like to go to Subway. Like, I love Wawa, and I wouldn't eat Wawa every day of the week. With all the different options they have, it's got to be a special thing. You got to make it, you know, because then it just ruins it. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube, and he did a video about, randomly popped up on my YouTube, and it was like, why Walmart workers look dead inside. And he worked at Walmart for like a year. I think he worked
Yeah.
at GameStop for a few years. He worked at Panda Express or something, like a Chinese place. And he just talked about the woes of retail.
I just think they're overworked.
Well, yeah, and they don't get...
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like maybe they don't get paid enough.
I mean, I think Walmart pays like okay. Definitely more than I get paid.
But I mean, think
for
about
sure. But
think about
they
the
have to
crap you
deal
put up
with a
at
lot.
Walmart.
Yeah,
like the customers.
Yeah,
and like I'm like there's some rude customers anywhere you go, but I think at Walmart that's probably like
you get a little taste of everyone there.
Oh yeah, that was a weird way of putting it.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
And he talked about like. He has a couple episodes about like the food that you eat while you're on your shift there, and like he said something about like the food that you can get like at the deli in Walmart, or it's
they have
just,
like fried foods,
it's just
and
like
stuff.
nasty.
Yeah,
he said
it's not good.
And he said he would see these people make this food every day, like he knew it wasn't old, and it was still nasty.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah, but that was actually kind of one thing though that was fun about working at Subway. Was on my break, because I worked at Subway. I didn't work at Walmart. I would just walk around Walmart.
Yeah.
And I would always buy like candy, drinks, all this crap that I really didn't need. That's probably where all my money went. You probably went to just walk around on my break and buy things that I didn't need.
Did you have any before we move on, did you have any like Walmart regulars that like you maybe had a soft spot for, that you were like, oh, like that's really nice that they're
There was
here?
this one guy, his name was Ed.
Ed,
such a sweet guy. Like he was older, he was just so genuine. Like
that's nice.
He just I don't really know, I don't remember much of his like backstory. I don't know if he's still there. I feel like I've seen him like 3 years ago. I don't know if he's still there anymore, but such a nice guy. He would come in like every single day, like on his break or whatever.
Oh, so he was a worker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Walmart worker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember him being really nice and like just like talking to him like about like our days.
Yeah.
And how work was going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just he would just talk to you.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Walmart, always a fun place. I have so many memories from Walmart, like with Sean and Jack. But I remember going there like with my family pretty regularly when I was, going through elementary school and, maybe in the middle school a little bit. But then I would start staying at home if I didn't want to go out because I was like old enough to stay home alone. I remember like we would go out usually like on a Friday night. There were a lot of times we'd have to go to like Walmart to pick a couple of things up on an errand, and then my dad might have to like run into Home Depot. Because that Walmart is our least favorite. The one by the Burger King on 191.
There's like cardboard boxes sitting out in the aisles. Like, why?
It's just a giant shit show.
Yeah, it's not good.
But yeah, like we would go there and like, usually then we'd go to like Burger King for dinner, and it was always such a nice night. Or because that was right over by a GameStop, I remember like there were a couple times where I'd get like, if I had some money, go in and buy some GameCube games or something, and then I'd like we'd come home and it'd be a Friday night, watch wrestling, play my GameCube games. Always a really nice experience. Walmart is a total shithole in general, but
yeah, it is.
But I think that it's nice when you have those types of experiences. Well, before we move on, then I have a Walmart story. I alluded to this about 3 weeks ago, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna hold back.
Yeah, I've never heard this story.
Yeah, I wanted to save this one. There are times with Kayla where I'm like, well, I'll wait to tell it until we do a podcast or something, because. So this is a Walmart story. Before we just move into Subway and deli stuff, as I said, I'd go on these Walmart outings with my family, usually on a Friday night. We'd go to Burger King or somewhere and have, it'd be a treat. Well, one time in particular, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, old enough to go to the bathroom by myself. But, when you're that age, it's like, well, you don't want to get your child abducted, so you go to the bathroom with them just to like keep an eye, make sure no creepy people. I think it was our least favorite Walmart, a 191 by the Home Depot, and that Walmart's just a disaster.
Yeah.
I had to go to the bathroom, and it was just like a... Actually, no. I think I had to go number 2.
Number 2.
It wasn't just pee-pee, poo-poo. It was a poo-poo. It wasn't just pee-pee. I had to go poo-poo.
Okay. Okay.
Little boy Matthew has to take a two. Okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah, seriously, babe.
So I had to go, and it's like when you're a little kid, you don't think about how filthy the toilet is. You don't think about like, oh, I gotta hover. It's like, and I know
just go.
There's people out there that are probably like, just be a fucking man and just take a shit. Like whatever. I'm weird about public bathrooms, as and maybe it's because of this experience. Who knows? But I remember my dad was like, okay, I'll take you to the bathroom, and we went in. Couldn't use the urinals because obviously you can't shit in a urinal, obviously. So here's the thing. There were 3 toilet stalls.
Yeah.
One had a big paper taped to it and it was locked shut and it said out of order. The one all the way, it was like the middle one. The one all the way at the end, there was a guy in there sitting on the toilet, but you could hear him texting. So it's not like he was like, I think it was like he wasn't actually pooping. He was just in there like texting. Maybe he was a Walmart worker on his break or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's fair.
So then there was one stall open. And I was like, all right. So, little boy Matthew, stumbles into this stall, getting ready to drop trow. And that one was for Sean, by the way. Sean, I hope you heard that. And getting ready to, go do my business. And the horror that this toilet was.
Oh, no.
Oh, my good gracious Lord, have mercy. That's all I have to say. It was filled to the top.
No.
The water was like all the way up to like the brim of the toilet. There was toilet paper stuffed, like floating, stuffed in.
Ew.
There was doo-doo all in the water.
Oh.
Wait, there was some doo-doo splatter on the toilet seat.
Oh.
And there was some doo-doo running over the edge of the toilet. Just like smeared on the side of the toilet, running over the edge. And as an adult, you would go and you'd sit and be like, I'll just hold it. Like, I'll be fine. And then you leave. But being 8 years old, I was like, I don't want Dad to think I'm like, goofing around or something. Or like I was, like I didn't, because I didn't want it to be like where I was like, Dad. So then I just kind of was like, I thought like, well, maybe I can like kind of hover over this, but I didn't. I was like, no, like this is literally like, it's a shit volcano basically. It's smeared all over the side of the toilet. It was terrifying. I still have images of it in my head. It's the leading cause of my depression. No, I'm just kidding. But
PTSD.
Yeah. No, it's just this experience
from the toilets.
And so like now I have this preconceived like notion or this preconceived thought of like every time I walk into a Walmart bathroom, it's going to look like this.
Oh my God.
And so now whenever I walk in and it doesn't look like that, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm like, that was a really clean bathroom,
Oh my God.
But I just remember I left. I was like, I can't. I even think my dad went in, my dad, Frank, he goes and he's like, oh shit, like,
So you
like,
actually used that toilet?
No, like, I think he went in and he was like, oh, you can't use that, bud, like, so then we just like left and obviously went home, but oh, so disgusting. That Walmart is just a filth hole. It is like the so ninth gross. Circle of hell. But Walmart, if you're listening, please don't sponsor me. I don't want to be sponsored by Walmart.
No.
But that is where I'm gonna leave. I hope.
Oh God.
Hope everyone had a laugh at my pain. That's what a lot of this season has been. Is laugh at my pain.
Traumatic as a child.
It was scary. Oh yeah, well, because I didn't know what to do. Let's move on to less disgusting things. Well, Subway's pretty gross sometimes.
Well, bagged meats is questionable.
Overall, what was it like working at Subway? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Yes. I think mainly my coworkers, because it was some of the best people I met, like, in my life. Was that Subway, like...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of them are in my life anymore, but, like, some fun times, We would just goof off, honestly, because we were all teenagers.
Yeah. Everyone has that one job.
Yeah, like, all we did was goof off and, like, talk to each other, and, like, yeah. I mean, yeah, we would handle customers, but...
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm sure you had
that job.
You definitely had downtime. Not everyone's going to Walmart to eat at Subway. It's like, oh, we're hungry, so you have your passerbys.
Yeah, there was downtime. There was times where we were like dead.
Yeah.
The owners were kind of assholes.
You've said.
Definitely. So that was
And you
not
said they
fun.
owned another Subway, correct?
They've
Dan?
owned a couple in the area, I guess, at the time.
And that's what led to your departure.
They wouldn't let me leave. They didn't want me to leave,
Oh.
actually.
Oh.
The manager who trained me when I first got hired there was really nice lady, and she was a really good manager. The good manager went to the one in Coopersburg, and I was like, oh, and she's like, yeah, come transfer to Coopersburg. It's really nice here. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I probably was there like a year maybe, or a little less. I guess word somehow got out to my like bosses who own the store that I was wanting to like go to that Subway.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the boss dudes went to the Subway in Coopersburg and kind of like, I don't know if he like blackmailed them or threatened them to like not hire me.
That is so terrible.
Yes.
Why do people have to be like that?
Because the
Corporate
I don't know,
America.
because the nice manager girl who I wanted to work with was like, we can't hire you. Your boss or whatever pretty much came in the store and like threatened us because I guess Subway owners like go neck and neck with each other because they're
Yeah.
trying to compete over, you know what I mean?
Because if your store does better than the
And
other
I guess
store,
they probably
you know,
know each other if they're in the area, you know what I mean? They I don't know, they probably go to like meetings and
it's
shit.
competition within the
Yeah,
business.
so, like-
so stupid.
Pretty much that was like really shitty, and I was like, this has to be illegal in some way. Like I was literally like 16 or 17 at the time,
Yeah.
and like that's like
If
some shitty things happen there, and like it's kind of like that. Yeah,
some
shitty
shitty
things happen there.
things. No pun intended.
It was I don't know what day of the week it was.
If you feel comfortable, please tell the story.
Oh, I feel comfortable.
Go
This
for
is
it.
the worst story ever. I will never forget this.
This is a very shitty filled
Yeah.
episode. Shitty episode.
Oh yes, I came in for my shift after school, and one of the guys was already there who I work with, and he actually went to the same school as me. He was a grade above me. So I walked in, and I think he was like already there or whatever. We went along our shift for a few hours, and I started like not feeling well. I was like, oh man, I don't feel good. Like as soon as I like started working, and as time gone on, it like got worse and worse. But the store got really dead, so my bosses called us and was like, okay, well one of you can go home. And the guy at the time was like, well, I'll go home because I got
was
here
here
before
first,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I was here first. It was literally like 30 minutes or an hour before me.
Yeah. Ooh.
Which is like, oh, wow. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, whatever, just leave, but I'm not feeling well. But at the time, I was like, maybe I can handle it. It got worse.
Well, you and I are like, in like, if we're at work and we don't feel well, like we could want to go home so bad,
Yes.
but because we take so much pride in what we
Yeah.
do, and we're like afraid of, not like afraid, but like we don't want to let people down.
Yeah.
No matter how
All the
shitty we
time.
get treated, it's like we just stick it out
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Exactly. But time went on, and I started like feeling really, really shitty. We were still like really dead. There was barely any customers coming in the store. And eventually I had to throw up. So I threw up in the trash can in the back of Subway.
Oh, it's so unsanitary.
In the prep area. Like in that trash can, because I had no choice.
Well, yeah, it was
Just
you
randomly sprung up, and
it's not like you can leave the store unattended because you'd probably get in trouble for that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I was the only one there, and you know what I mean? So I threw up. I was like, okay, maybe I'm feeling a little better. So I, washed my hands,
always
got a
think.
little cleaned up. I was like, oh my God. And you feel gross after you throw up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Well,
disgusting.
that's
Like-
exactly what you always think. Like, oh, I feel better now, and then you feel gross, but then it happens again, and
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
and again, and you're like, okay,
Yeah. And luckily, no customers came. Like, I don't think, maybe one person, but like no one came because I was concerned about sanitary reasons.
Of course, working in food service, that makes me squirm. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so.
I was terrified. I was like, I just threw up and I'm going to be possibly making someone's sandwich. Like, so I called my bosses because I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I just threw up. That's not allowed in food service. Anyone knows that. And my manager or whatever was like, oh, well, I can't come in, so can you just do the best you can? And I was like, okay.
What a dick.
And then as the night went on, I started to feel worse to the point where I couldn't even stand up straight.
That's brutal.
Then it hit me.
Uh-oh. Here comes...
I ran. I left the store unattended because we didn't have our own bathroom, as I said earlier. I ran to the bathroom in Walmart in the front.
Oh, you know,
and I made it to the bathroom.
You're the reason why the bathroom was nasty for me when I went in there when I was 8 years old. There you go.
And I went to the bathroom, and that went on 3 times. I ran to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, great. Another reason
good.
why I shouldn't be touching food.
Yeah.
But I'm still here. And literally, at this time, I let my managers know what the hell's going on. And they obviously didn't care.
There needs to be some sort of like emergency protocol for when stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
They
I was literally like
care.
16 and I was the only one there. Like, what?
There has to be some sort of like abuse thing for that. Because you're a minor and they're like not letting you go home.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah. Like, it was bullshit. I called my mom because I felt so bad.
What else are you going to do? You know, at that age.
I couldn't even count the drawer at the end of the shift because eventually they were like, it was like 8 and we closed at like 9 or whatever. They were like, okay, well, just close at 8 and go home. Ooh. Like, ooh, wow. Like, we should have closed earlier because no one's coming in. But anyways, I called my mom because I couldn't even stand up straight to count the drawer. And I'm pretty sure she shouldn't have been touching the money, but what else was I supposed to do? Like, I literally had her count the drawer for me because I kept messing up.
You're like half dead.
Because before I called her, before she came in, I actually shit my pants. And that's why I called her. I was like crying. I was like, Mom, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
No pun intended, but how shitty.
It was like at this
boss for your boss to know that you threw up, you shit your pants.
I don't know if I told him I shit my pants.
I would have. I'd be like, bud,
I was like 16, like, bro, like that was probably the first time I shit my pants since I was like a little kid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
I would have been like, bud, I got soup sloshing around in my underwear.
Yeah,
like, I gotta go home.
Like,
you know.
It was.
We get it. It was.
But
gross.
I called my mom. I was like, Mom. I was like literally crying. I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. Like, I literally shit my pants, and I you know, whatever. Yeah. She bought me like fucking granny panties at Walmart, so I changed into them, and I changed into new pants, so I could at least, you know, clean the store up, kind
Kayla,
of.
She could have at least brought you some Depends, knowing your situation.
But yeah, so I left and I went home. That was the last time I got really, really sick. So I'm due to get really sick again.
Let's hope it doesn't happen for a good long time.
Because that was...
I went 10 years without getting sick, and I got it last January, like January 2020.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks it was COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know, but...
I feel like shortly after that is when I realized, like, I don't want to be at the Subway anymore. Yes. Like, that is fucked up.
Quakertown Subway, don't sponsor me.
Yeah, I've not been there to eat ever since.
But you are a big fan of just Subway in general.
Yes, as long as it's not that one.
But you are a big Subway fan in general, and
you
know, you obviously said you enjoyed working at Subway. In addition to working at Subway, you also worked at like a real deli.
Oh yeah, a little deli.
Before we wrap up and move on to the real deli, Subway was a bit of a Nazi organization when it came to how you made your sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
Tell everyone about the sandwich instruction.
Well, we were trained, like when I was trained,
you were programmed.
We were programmed to put exact counts of meat, exact ounces of lettuce, and pickles. Which I understand. You know what I mean?
Certain things because of calories. Because I know, like with my job, we have certain things marking the donuts, and like it's a government thing. And if they come in and it's like mislabeled or it's not, you could get in trouble for that. But there
would be like a private health inspector or food inspector that would come in. Yeah, like a secret one. And they would order like a random sandwich and like watch us make it, and then they would take it apart and like look at how many pickles or tomatoes or onion pieces were on it, and like they would like give us a score essentially, depending. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
It sounds like my friend Doug and I when we go to different Giants and send each other pictures of their terrible donuts.
Yeah. Like, we didn't know when these people came in.
Yeah, and you said that, like, with certain amounts of things, you would have to... I'm not an olives guy, but, like, with olives, you had to put, like, 6 little olives on the sandwich, and it's like, who's going to taste that?
It was, like, 3 olives for a 6-inch. For a foot long, it was, like, 6 or whatever, or 8, or I don't know.
It's so crazy.
I was like, what? No, like, you know, in general, you just get a handful and you put them on.
Yeah, you just spread them out.
If someone wants olives, they obviously like olives.
And
so.
obviously it's good to have systems of doing things, but it's also terrible to be micromanaged and be like, you didn't put 6 little pieces of olive on your sandwich. Like, I'm going to give you a D for your sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Mr. Food Sandwich guy, like, whatever. Subway, interesting times, interesting stories. In contrast to that, though, you worked at a real deli where you didn't use layered meats, where I'm sure you didn't have, like, these strict protocols on how you made a sandwich. Like, you had probably a little bit more freedom on, you know.
The owner of it showed us how he wanted the sandwiches to look, you know.
Yeah.
He liked them, like, filled with meat, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is what people usually look for in places. But my favorite thing about the real deli was not making the sandwiches, but doing the breakfast service. Because for a while, I was actually a manager there.
Yeah.
But I would come in the morning and set everything up, and I get like a breakfast rush. It was mainly like construction worker dudes that would come in, because it was in the middle of nowhere. Limeport Deli, where are you at?
Yeah. Out of business now.
Yeah, it went out of business like a month after I left.
And you know, it's really funny too. So for those who, again, have listened, there was a guy that I used to be really good friends with, John, who was on the podcast quite a few times.
Yeah.
And the way I met Kayla was through John. And it's
through the deli.
The weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You guys worked together for like a day.
You
interviewed him, and then like you trained him and worked with him for a day.
And then he didn't show up.
And then he was like, because John lives in Easton and Limeport is like,
yeah, why would you even drive?
Because he was unemployed. It was when we were unemployed. I would love to do an episode about being unemployed, because that was a wild time in my life. But
I just think if I've never worked this job, I probably wouldn't have known you. So it's really weird.
It's crazy that it goes back to something as small as that. Like, you guys worked together for a day. Yeah. And then like
I don't even know like how I even
got him on Instagram.
I don't even know. That was the thing I feel like, because sometimes phones, if they're near each other, they'll like recommend people you like are near.
Probably based on location.
I've seen it before on Facebook.
Yeah, that's why I have mine turned off.
With like new people that work at my job, they'll randomly show up on my Facebook, even though we don't have mutual friends, and I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. So I think I followed their like band page or whatever, and that's how I like.
And John's that type of person where like if you follow his music, he'll probably follow you.
Yeah. And that's how I found Matt.
It's just so weird. Well, and it was weird because like he and I were both unemployed, and we both got like, I got the baking job, he got the Limeport Deli job, but then he quit it because it was really far away.
Yeah.
And then he got the car wash job. But you guys worked together for a day, and then you basically like, it's not like you were friends, it's not like you were like hanging out. A year goes by, and then one night out of nowhere, like we were just hanging out, and he posts this picture of me and you, who hadn't talked to him in over a year, replied to his story, and like here we are today doing this podcast. It's so weird how life works that way. But so yeah, you worked at Limeport Deli.
You also make soups and stuff.
Soups?
Yeah. We had like a daily soup. And we would handmade like homemade soups.
Really? What was
I made a bunch of stuff. Antipasta salad.
Didn't you say you had like some sort of brisket?
Yeah, they had smoked meats, which they smoked at another location.
Interesting.
Like he had like a restaurant that he owned, so that's where they would smoke the meats.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was do you remember like what your maybe favorite soup or your favorite sandwich was to make? It could be breakfast, lunch, dinner, like was there one that you would get like psyched if someone ordered it? You were like, yes, like this is my wheelhouse.
Well, there was this one couple that came in and would get like this, like I made this hot relish or whatever out of red pepper or some kind of spicy peppers. I forget.
So was a lot of this stuff like homemade?
Oh,
obviously not like
the barbecue sauces, everything was like homemade.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And that was the one fun thing about it, is you had freedom to they pretty much they were like, oh, go online, find a recipe for soup and make it. You know
That's
what I
cool.
mean? And
That's
you'd be
really
like,
cool.
oh, cool. Like, I can do whatever I want, you know? They're like,
Yeah.
well, as long as it's good. And I'm like, yeah, we can make soup.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was really fun. But I made this like hot relish, and this couple would come in like at least once a week and get sandwiches with the hot relish on it. It would just make me feel, and they were like, we love your hot relish. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
It just made me feel good because I've never made that before until I worked there.
So you worked at this deli that was a lot of like from scratch. You were encouraged
Yeah.
to like be yourself, and you like cooking, so I'm sure it was
Yes.
exciting to you
Yeah.
you to be like having that freedom of like, wow,
Yes.
like I can just make stuff.
Yeah, but it definitely had its downfalls.
Yeah, let's get into let's wrap up. Let's have a laugh. Sad clown at the downfalls of this deli. And I think I know one of them that we're going to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, literally in the entire deli, there was literally only like 5 people that worked there because it was a small deli, you know what I mean?
Nothing
So a
wrong
lot
with
of the
that, though.
times, we would be there like alone,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Because you don't really, I can handle a breakfast rush by myself. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, I can. I would get good tips. But
Oh, are you going to touch on like wearing makeup versus no makeup? Speaking
yeah,
of
you
tips.
get more tips if you wear makeup. I'm just saying, well, it was like construction men that come in. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Here you go, darling. Here's an extra
seriously,
$6.
probably. And like farmers and shit. Like,
Farmers.
yeah, I don't know.
Do you think if I wore makeup, I'd have a chance to make better tips, or do you think they'd probably discourage?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you think they'd be like, "That's weird"?
No, I don't think it's weird.
Let's try it out.
Oh no.
Do me up in full drag. I'll go work at the deli and see if I can get good tips.
There was definitely a few times where I was very scared, especially when I would close the store and it would get dark out. It made my anxiety so bad. Like, I got frightened quite a few times, and I've actually kept a big chef knife right next to the cash register. Even though there was cameras, that doesn't make you feel safe.
Yeah.
Like, a big chef knife does.
Oh yeah.
Next to, you know what I mean? Because there was some creepy people that would come in. One time in particular, there was this guy. It happened a couple times with different people, but this one guy was the creepiest guy I've ever encountered. He came in and he was wandering around a store. I think he got like a sandwich or something. But then he asked me, "You here alone?"
Oh yeah, that's weird.
And
No,
I
thank
already
you.
I can read people even when they don't even say anything to me yet, and I already knew he was a creep. You know,
Well, some
I was
people
reading
are just
him
naturally creepy, and you're just like
because my mom always taught me like watch your surroundings. So
to an extent.
she definitely blew it out of proportion.
Sometimes it's a little
Sorry,
extreme.
Mom, but
Even nowadays,
you scared me to death.
Yeah,
but
even nowadays, I'll be like, Kayla, like, chill. Just because there's a guy in the car next to us doesn't mean he's gonna murder us.
Yeah.
He's probably doing the same thing we're doing.
I've gotten
like,
better, believe me.
Oh,
but
for
this
sure.
guy was a creep.
Oh yeah, sometimes
Are
people
you
are
alone?
just total creep. That's not something you just ask a girl who's alone at a deli. Like, that's
Yeah, I was
weird.
like maybe 17 or 18. I don't know.
yeah,
18, 19. I don't know. I was like, no, there's someone in the basement. I didn't want to say yes, so I
Well, yeah,
made up
'cause
a
then-
lie.
yeah.
Even though if he thought it was a lie, well, whatever. And then he was asking like what time we close, what time I get done, and I was like,
How old
we
is this
close
guy?
at, I don't know. I think he was like probably in his 30s
yeah.
or 40s. Probably like
That's
late,
still weird.
late 30s.
That's
disgusting. It was weird no matter how old you are. You don't ask people those questions. I was like, oh, we
Unless
close
it's
at
me.
8, and yeah, I don't know what time I'm getting out. I have a lot
got
to do.
stuff to
I was
do,
like, I have a
yeah.
lot of stuff to do. And I think he asked like a couple other weird questions. I just got a whole eerie feeling
Made
from
you
him.
uncomfortable.
As soon as he walked out the door, I locked the door because it was practically closing time anyways.
Didn't you say he was kind of just like wandering around, loitering the store? Then
He was wandering around. As soon as I locked the door, like I called my bro and I'm like, can you please like drive to the deli and just watch me get in my car to make sure that, you know, this guy isn't sticking around, because he walked to the left and then I was like, okay, he's gone. And then I saw him come back after like 3 or 4 minutes because I was still a little skeeved out, so I was just
I
like
would be
watching
too, yeah.
outside, and I saw him walk the other direction then, And then he walked back again. And I was like, he's like pacing. So like he was walking on the road, but he was still walking past, you know.
Yeah, it's just
so I was
weird.
like, it was a good thing I called my brother because I just did not feel good about that
That's
whole
just
situation.
really
Like
weird.
it was really creepy. But
Yeah.
I promised myself after that job, you know, a few months after that, I got tired of it because that was just one situation out of a couple where I felt unsafe at my own job.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say a lot of the time because you were kind of like a manager or whatever, you would get stuck there alone, like doing all this stuff by yourself, which you can handle pretty well because you're good at it.
Yeah.
But then there's also that, like, this is bullshit, I should have help, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you get sick of being responsible for everything.
Yeah. And being alone for hours on end.
Thanks,
like,
John. You shouldn't have quit. No, just kidding.
No, being alone for hours on end is really tough.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, especially when you're creeped out by all these gross men. Like,
yeah.
I promised myself I would never work a job where I'm like alone ever again. Like, especially at night. Like, it was just
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. Not to mention,
it's funny. The theme a few episodes ago was don't let anyone ruin your birthday.
What?
Now the theme is don't work alone.
Don't
ever work alone.
Don't work alone.
Yeah, I can attest that. Not necessarily feeling skeeved out, but for me, working alone, like, it gives me time to like brood and like get really, just to, you know, think deeply.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a really bad thing.
Yeah.
It's important to work with people you like. It's important to work around people because it helps you grow as a person. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, usually. But yeah, good talks. Is there any wrapping thoughts before we close this thing out?
No, I don't think so.
It was a lot of fun. Talked about art, talked a little bit about video games, Shenmue.
Yep.
And then we just talked about the cluster fuck that is
of
Walmart, Subway, and then rounded it out with some great deli stories.
Yeah.
Fun talks as always. If you liked what you heard, give us a follow wherever you're listening from, whether it's through an app or here on SoundCloud. Give us a follow. Give us a review if you can review. Comment. We like getting comments here on the pod. Interact with us. Have you had any weird jobs where you've had these types of experiences or any experiences worth noting? Give us a comment. Share the podcast with your friends if you like what you heard. Give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Fueled by Coffee Pod on Instagram is where we post. Just give us check us out. Kayla, thanks for joining us. And if you want to support Kayla's art, check out ghostie.art, 2 T's, Ghostie Art on Instagram. She's trying to get it started up. Go give her support if you like what you see. Go check her out. She would definitely appreciate your support, as well as I do. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, leave a comment. Let us know you made it this far. We appreciate you listening to the end of these episodes. And I hope you had a laugh. Hope you had a smile.
Hope you didn't shit your pants.
Yo, that's a perfect way to end it. Hope you... Lessons learned today. Don't work alone.
Yeah.
Don't shit your pants.
Yeah.
At a Subway. It all ties in together. Full
don't
circle.
Shit your pants,
Full
don't work
circle.
Alone.
You want to take this real full circle? Episode 2 of the podcast was called Full's Circle. We're going full circle right now. But check in every 2 weeks. We upload new episodes. In the next episode, Aaron and I just talk about things we love. Our interests, our hobbies. It's a real chill episode, so definitely go check it out. And we appreciate your support. Do not work alone. Do not poop your pants. And I will see you all on the next episode of Fueled by Coffee Podcast.